Hello and welcome to our webinar. This is our Cyber Spotlight series and we're featuring Comsource today. Today we have with us Vance Hazeki. He's Vice President of Operations for Comsource Incorporated. Vance has over 25 years of experience in the fields of software development, open source tool research, cellular communications research and testing, and network security. Also on the line today we have Byron Parker, who is the President of Comsource, and he will be available for you for any questions that might bubble up during the presentation, and he'll be glad to field any of those questions that we'll have at the end of Vance's presentation today. So in today's 30-minute session, Vance will answer key questions that integrators and vendors may have regarding the Comsource services market opportunity, targeted buyers, messaging, and how to partner with Comsource. The goal of the session today is to help you to qualify your opportunities and to set up potential partnerships. My name is Barbara Shaw. I'm the Director of Education with PSA Security Network, and I will be moderating your call today. I have just a few quick logistical items to handle before I hand the call over to Vance. If you have any questions throughout the course of the presentation, please type them into the question panel, and we will have time for Q&A at the end of the presentation today. If you run into any technical difficulties, chat will be monitored, and we'll do our best to get you back up and running should you run into any problems during this broadcast. With that, I'll hand the call over to Vance.
Okay, Barbara, thank you for the introduction, and I'd like to take the time to thank PSA for letting me do this webinar, and for all of those of you that are watching, thank you for your time. So getting right to the point, this webinar is really about the service that we, Comsource, is offering to the PSA community. And starting the introduction here, I'll be providing a brief introduction to our company and our parent company. I'll discuss our capabilities, describe some of the interesting features of our facilities, and then tell you about our laboratory environments, present the services that we are offering to PSA members, and then I'll present our value proposition, which is where I try to convince you all to work with us. And then finally, I'll present a slide of, if you do decide to work with us, how it would proceed. So, Comsource is located in Frederick, Maryland. That's approximately an hour north of Washington, D.C. We have about 35 employees at the moment, and we were established in 2004 as a telecommunications research, development, and independent validation and verification testing company for Verizon and its partners. In 2011, we were bought by Globecom Systems Incorporated. Globecom is headquartered in Hauppauge, New York, and they are a satellite transport company with ground stations located in Asia, Africa, Europe, and of course the U.S. Their interest in buying Comsource really stemmed from our knowledge of cellular communication switching technology and our strong software development expertise. We recently entered into the partnership with PSA to provide cybersecurity services, and as mentioned, that's what I'm presenting today. The focus of our capabilities really zeroes in on embedded systems. That's the core of the work we do here. And specifically, it's the research, testing, and software development with embedded systems. The research we do, we call that system characterization, and then really what it includes is a deep dive of a top-down, bottom-up analysis of both hardware and software. And the reason we do that is so we fully understand the system we're working with and how to integrate that with other systems, and if needed, develop whatever software as the client wants. So our ability to characterize software like this has led to our expertise in software development. We follow the Carnegie Mellon Software Engineering Institute's CMMI dev model, which is focused on the product improvement and maturity of engineering processes. So we really write quality software. Also, our staff is comprised of all engineering staff with the disciplines of computer science, computer engineering, and electrical engineering, and they all have a significant experience with embedded systems research and development. Laboratory testing, I'll talk more about this in a minute. I have a slide for that, but why it's here is to let you know that all the work we do is really done in these 9 testbed laboratory environments. Cybersecurity services, the natural extension of all the research analysis work we do with understanding how systems and devices work, we also understand their vulnerabilities and how they're susceptible to cyber attacks. So our cybersecurity offering includes vulnerability assessments of devices and networks, and we conduct assessments for regulatory compliance requirements such as what's imposed on the electrical power industry of doing NERC SIP assessments. We also sell equipment. Due to our history with what we call friends and family throughout the world, we have access to overseas markets that can sell equipment that are present in those markets. The next slide here, I thought it appropriate to talk about our facilities. You can see a diagram here. The top building is our headquarters building, and the bottom one is our operations building. And the importance of our facilities is really to point out to you all that Comsource is really sensitive to client confidentiality needs. So these facilities were built with security in mind to protect client proprietary information and intellectual property. The facilities feature a visitor management system, so if you come for a visit, you have to present an identification, you'll get a badge. All of our laboratory spaces are protected by 2-factor authentication. That means you need to present a fob and then get your iris scan before you're allowed to enter in the laboratory. We do have interior and exterior video surveillance, and this extends into our laboratory spaces as well. We have a shipping and receiving loading dock area for storage and rack and stack of equipment. Our facilities have clean power running into them. We have generator and UPS backup. The laboratory spaces of the power entering there is filtered through batteries, and we have DC power plants in each of our lab spaces. One of the things we do too for our friends and family is offer them space in our facility if they need it. For example, there's one company we're partnering with that's been residing in one of our labs for a couple of years now. So that's just an extra benefit of working with us. Okay, here's where I talk about our laboratories. We have 9 laboratory spaces here in Frederick. Each lab hosts isolated networks that are used for testing, research, and development. The labs all feature RF shielding, anti-static flooring, as I mentioned, clean power, and they're climate controlled as well. We have a complete cellular telecommunication switching platform that supports 2G, 3G voice and data, and soon to be 4G. That network has a complete simulated internet environment, PSTN environment, and PBX, and it's completely shielded so we don't get the FCC mad at us. Also, the radio network in that laboratory can be remotely attenuated, which allows us to perform testing on handover situations. Our wireline laboratories have Class 4 and Class 5 core switching platforms, which allows us to do testing for local distribution or long-distance calling scenarios. And of course, we have a complete array of test equipment that allows us to load the networks for both voice networks and data networks, and then also from a point of monitoring the networks or injecting anomalies into the network, such as in a wireless environment, if there's rain fade or something like that, we can inject jitter to simulate that. We also have a industrial control system and SCADA laboratory, which is sort of a sandbox environment for us. That's where our cyber engineers can play with new cyber tools or set up different networks to test things, and we can test SCADA equipment in there, like the small firewalls that are used in industrial Ethernet environments. Okay, the next screen here. This is where we get into the meat of the offering for you. It's where I talk about what Comsource is offering PSA members. So, as described, there's a number of things we do here at Comsource. However, the focus of this presentation is the testing services we offer PSA members, which is what we call independent third-party testing of internet-enabled devices, and specifically testing their security features. just truth be told here, we'll do anything you want us to do, but it appears that the most appropriate service we offer is this independent third-party testing. So it's well, I guess I want to say, just to clarify what independent third-party testing is, it's where an unbiased entity conducts the evaluation of a product. So in this case, Comsource would perform a security evaluation of your internet-enabled solution. And, excuse me, what I mean by internet-enabled, it's anything that can connect to the internet, either by any means, Ethernet, wireless, it doesn't matter. So if you think of the Internet of Things, of all these devices connected into the Internet, we'll test anything that falls under that big umbrella. Why is third-party testing, and what is testing important, and what does it mean to you? Independent testing of your device or proposed network solution provides an unbiased analysis and lends credibility to the security features and configuration settings of your product. So end customers, and you're probably aware of this, are demanding that devices and solutions are secure. So by having your device subjected to a cyber vulnerability analysis, you're basically telling the customer that your solution has been designed and tested with their security needs in mind. I think that's a pretty compelling statement to present to your customers. Other considerations that roll into this, why independent third-party testing is important, is cyber procurement language and cyber liability insurance. So end customers have been asking for help from the government entities and industry for how can we write RFPs with appropriate language in there that helps us attract the right type of people responding to these RFPs and provide us appropriate secure products. So, for example, the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Energy have both produced documents for cyber procurement language. And these are then used by the end customer so they can write the RFPs with the correct language in there. And what they're looking for then is people that respond to the RFPs to have secure solutions for them. So the way that this can help with third-party testing is if you're responding to one of these RFPs, you can point out that your end device or your solution has been tested and approved and is cyber secure. The cyber liability assurance angle rolls into this thing too. The insurance company is jumping with both feet into offering these cybersecurity products, and they're making a lot of money on this. And the way this goes, if a company wants cyber liability assurance, they'll contact a company, and the company will do an assessment, and if their network or devices are not secure, well, that premium is pretty high. So if these devices have been approved and tested by third-party testing, that premium is much lower because it's just a matter of risk. So that's another compelling statement of why we think third-party testing is important. In our position here is that it allows you to position your device as a tested and verified cyber secure device, which in turn would gain the attention of your customers and provide them with a level of comfort such that they know they're buying the right solution or device there. Okay, moving on to the next screen. Okay, as mentioned, this is where I try to tell you that you should work with us. And basically, why Comsource? Why should you partner with us? What are our discriminators? I have 6 of them listed here. And first, I think it's the telecommunication laboratories. As mentioned, we have 9 of these laboratories here that house a variety of test bed equipment, which means that we have the capability to test your device in most any deployment scenario. And we have a complete array of test equipment to be able to stress and monitor your device under various conditions. Our staff of engineers here are all, like I said, computer science, computer engineering, electrical engineering folks. They all are, our cyber staff in particular, are certified and credentialed with CISSPs and certified ethical hacker credentials, and they're trained on vulnerability assessment tools. As I mentioned, our facilities are secure. We know how to protect your information. And as far as industry best practices go, we adhere closely to the NIST 853A for securing of networks. And for device testing, we're focused on the NIST SP 800-115. That kind of is a guideline for excuse me, penetration testing of devices. Also, our laboratory spaces are governed by ISO 17025 quality management system, which basically details proficiencies and different specialties for assessing devices. So number 5, I think we really know security here. We know how to do the low-level characterization of devices. We have credentialed staff, and they really know how to conduct vulnerability assessment of devices. Being able to have that skill of doing system characterization is, I think, a significant discriminator. Like I said, it's a very low-level, top-down, bottom-up analysis to where we can completely pull a device apart and know exactly what it's doing and what it should not be doing, or should be doing, for that matter. Next slide. What I'm showing you here is basically how to get in touch with us, how to work with us. PSA would like you to work through Rick McCullough to contact us, and here's his contact information. He's a VP of Sales and Customer Service here at PSA. You can come to us direct. There's my information up there too. And if you're interested in working with us, we would get NDAs in place first, and then of course talk about what type of testing you'd like, negotiate a contract with you, and then put together a statement of work that's based on requirements. Now, if you don't have requirements, we're happy to develop those. We do that quite a bit. People bring equipment in here and just say, can you please test it? And we'll come up with a list of requirements, and they'll verify that yes or no, that's not what they want. So once we execute the statement of work, it's all based on the list of requirements. We build test cases for those. We then execute those test cases. We collect all the information. We conduct analysis on that information. And then that all goes into a report, and that's the final delivery. The delivery will include the test cases, test plan, the analysis findings, and all that. The next page we have here, I just wanted to show you an example of what a test case would look like here. Of course, it has a test number, a title, references back to a test plan, the purpose of this particular test here, and then we also set up or identify what the preconditions of the network are before the test case is executed and after the test case is executed. The middle of the test case here just shows which message structure is being tested in this case and what the parameters are. The bottom part of the test case identifies a sequence of testing and then results as they play out. So I ran through that kind of quickly, but really that's what we have to offer. And kind of swinging back, I in this webinar covered really what Comsource is all about, what we do, how we got started, our parent company, how we work with them. I described to you what our facilities are like, and that they're geared towards securing proprietary information. Talked to you about the credentials of our staff and our laboratories and how flexible and I'll say comprehensive they are with providing a great test environment. And that's all I have. That pretty much wraps up this webinar. Okay. The other thing I was just going to say, if you have any questions, please ask them. And there's one thing that maybe I threw out some technical jargon in this webinar. And like any technical industry, there's a lot of buzzwords that happen and a lot of standards, and it can get kind of confusing. So if you have any questions, please ask them now or contact me later. Or gee, if you're in the area here, Frederick, please feel free to drop in, and we'll be happy to visit with you.
Thanks for that, Vance, and thanks for that offer to help. We do have a lot of questions flooding in, and I want to get right to them. And folks, we do also have Byron Parker, President of Comsource, on the line to assist as well. So let's get right to that first question, Vance and Byron, and that first question reads, do you test software as well as hardware?
Yes, we can do that. And like I said, we do a lot of testing here. And talking with Bill Bozeman at PSA, we just felt that the most appropriate testing we should offer the community is device testing for security components of that device. However, like I try to portray in the webinar, we do a lot of things here, and we offer any type of service that falls into our wheelhouse. So the answer is yes.
Okay, perfect. I have a question that reads, have you worked with any equipment manufacturers that you can name in our physical security space?
Oh, in the physical security space, I'm going to say, as far as PSA members, I'm going to say yes and no to that. We're new to the PSA community and pretty excited about the relationship, and we do have a vendor that sent their products to us a couple weeks ago, and we'll start testing that next Friday. So the answer is yes and no. We haven't worked with anybody in PSA yet, but we are starting to work with them, one of the customers, or I should say members now.
Okay, Vance, and a follow-up question to that would be, if we use a vendor that has not been tested by a third-party lab, how do we get them to do so?
Right. So obviously a vendor that or manufacturer that has a device that, and it's what I want to call internet enabled, meaning you can connect it to it somehow via the internet. There has to be security features on that. The industrial control system world got hammered pretty hard here about 10 years ago when they started plugging in their SCADA networks into the local IT, because then all the mess that the IT folks have been dealing with for years are now right in their lap. And those devices were never built with any type of security at all. So if a manufacturer developed something, let's say a electrical latch to a door, and now this thing is sending metrics back to some IT place, LAN, he's now connected and susceptible to being brute force attack or something like that. So if this device has already been, it's kind of like the fox watching the hen house. It's best to have a unbiased third-party entity to evaluate that. And we offer different levels of testing here. Like I said, we can do very low level, which gets a little bit pricey, or we can do a more cursory view of, doing port analysis and reporting on why these ports are open and all that stuff. It's a bit cheaper. So it doesn't have to be an expensive proposition. Some companies are afraid of the price point going into this, so where's the value in it? But to answer your question, I would say it's in their best interest to have an unbiased entity to test this device, and it doesn't have to be expensive, and then it's something that they can advertise to their customers.
Okay, perfect, Vance. And I have a question about this manufacturer training, and the question reads, I assume the manufacturer pays to have the testing done. Is testing expensive?
Right. That depends. I'm gonna say that depends on what they want done, and we can part of that is that contract negotiation thing I talked about. It can get as expensive as you think you want, or it can get not expensive, and it really boils down to the amount of hours we're putting into doing this work. And truthfully, conducting, I'll say, a NIST 853 or 800-115 type of test does not have to be rip the whole thing apart and see what's there. They have 853A has 18 different families of testing areas. Not all of them are applicable to a device. There's probably about 5 of them, really. So I'm going to say no, it doesn't have to be expensive.
Okay, great. And then we have a question about testing and whether you have the ability to move testing in the field as opposed to, I guess, them bringing your stuff to your laboratory.
Yeah, actually, we can go there, or I'll give you a quick example and try not to burn up too much time here. In our cellular laboratory, I don't know if all of you know how cell phones work and how they connect to radio towers, and how that radio tower then is connected back into a central office where all the switching takes place, and facility builds and all that take place. That's the kind of network we have here. So it's Barbara, can you repeat that question? I got off on a tangent and lost my brain.
Sure. Do you have the capability to do testing in the field?
Oh yeah. Okay. The reason why I was discussing our lab and that. So there was a company way out in California that was building what's called a home location register, and they wanted their what's called Signaling System 7 software stack tested, because what they did, they built a box. They bought software from an overseas market, integrated it in their platform, and then wanted to see if this would really work. So that box resided out in California. We're over here in Maryland. We set up the facilities for them to basically communicate through a VPN to our core switching platform, and then conducted a long series of tests. So the point being, we can go to the field to do testing, or we can do just the scenario I painted where there's a remote VPN connection and we can test it remotely.
Okay, great. And there's a question follow-up to the manufacturing questions, and this question reads, if the manufacturer pays for the test, do integrators get a copy of the report? So I guess, how would that information be shared with the end users and the integrators about the result of a cyber test?
Sure. Well, right off, I'll say we're completely flexible. The entity that we contracted with, all the information we generate is totally theirs. We completely, once we deliver the product and deliver the results and the data and all that, we completely wipe everything out here. So the point is that it's not our information, it's the customer's information. So we would feel that
if I may add, this is somewhat of a gray area here, because if the manufacturer is paying for an evaluation of their equipment, they by default own the rights to that material, right. And whether or not they choose to release it is something that's probably going to have to be negotiated between the integrators that are using that equipment and the manufacturer that makes it. We by default can't just publish the results of those tests without the cooperation of the manufacturer.
Okay, makes sense. And guys, we have a question going back to your services, and the question reads, can you review the detail regarding the type of testing that you're offering?
Yes, and that for device testing, then that we put together three levels of testing, and I touched on that a little bit in one of the other questions. And essentially, the first one is pretty light. We call it level 1, and it's an analysis of the vendor documentation, functional testing of features, and then developing a test report from that. And these three levels are cumulative. So level 2 includes all level 1, and then we do more of a comprehensional functional testing where we actually are watching the network and capturing packets and looking at them. And this includes also the validation of the security features on there, that they look to be built and behaving correctly. We do port scans and everything to see that if you have these features, then these ports should be open and all these other ports should be closed. And then, of course, develop a report on that. And then level 3 is a more detailed one and includes level 1 and level 2. We do security conformance testing, where we actually grab the packets from these whatever security implementations you have. Let's say if you have a website running on there and you're using SSL for secure web traffic, we'll make sure that that SSL is put together correctly and is implemented correctly too. And then it also, level 3 would include a penetration testing, so that if we would take the manufacturer's recommended configuration settings, put those in place, and then basically try to attack the system. Try to break into it, or whatever services are running, try to compromise those in some way.
Okay, thanks, Vance. And it looks like that's all the time that we have for questions for today. For those of you on the line, if you would like to review this presentation again or pass it along to team members who couldn't make the live call, good news, we will have a recorded version of this session posted soon, and that will be this afternoon, and you can find it by visiting our website. So that's psasecurity.com/education. So psasecurity.com/education is where you'll find it. Thank you very much to Vance Hezeki and Byron Parker of Comsource. Contact information is right there on the screen for any questions that bubble up after this presentation today. And please do visit our website. Again, that's psasecurity.com to be sure that you're leveraging all that Comsource and PSA Security Network has to offer you. On our homepage, you can access our future webinar events, as well as this recording, our educational offerings, and our business solutions. This will conclude our presentation today. Thanks again, Vance and Byron.
Thank you so much, and thanks for everybody for watching.
And have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.